This is Jonathan Lane from Fan Film Factor, and today I'm here with Mr. Jakub Holy from the Czech Republic. Yes, we're going international today on Fan Film Factor. Jakub says I can call him Jacob, and in fact, Jakub has an excellent command of the English language because apparently you spent 5 years in Ireland. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So
Five lovely, wonderful green years.
5 wonderful green years, which means that you're going to be basically speaking English to me from the Czech Republic with an Irish accent.
That's correct, because I suppose you wouldn't understand Czech at all.
Probably not. Hey, could you give me a little Czech? Let's check your Czech.
Ahoj všichni, doufám, že se máte fajn.
I'm going to say that sounds amazing.
Oh, that's great. It was just about, hey, all, how are you? And that's it, yeah, so pretty easy, you know.
Alrighty, so Jacob is going to be asking you for some money today because he wants to make a fan film. And the fact is that a lot of people are asking you for money, and this is an opportunity to help first of all, help somebody in another part of the world, unless, of course, you happen to be in the Czech Republic right now. But also, the amazing thing about these folks is they have built the most incredible bridge set. And I know you think, well, okay, bridge sets. There's bridge sets in Georgia. Alec Peters has a bridge set, and Ray Tessie has a bridge set. Well, those are all original series bridge sets. These guys have built an amazing 24th century, gorgeous bridge set. Now, when did you guys build that set? Is that something recent?
I just point out one thing. We already made the movie. So we're asking money for already made movie, which is in post-production, but we just want to, cover some costs and prepare for another project. That's just like small sum up for whatever you said. But back to the brick set, we built that like about 3 years ago now. It took about 2 years. It was quite a big project, like not on a scale like, for example, the Axanar Bridge. Because our bridge is, we call it door to door, because the bridge, the room it is in, it's filled with the bridge, it's from one wall to another and the other way as well. So there's no space behind the walls.
So how big is the room, I guess? You would tell me in like square meters.
It's about square meter. Oh, I think the bridge is about something like 5 to 5 meters or 6 to 6.
6 to 6 meters.
So let's say 36 meters.
Yeah, so 36 square meters. And a meter, for all you guys wondering, is about 3 feet, give or take. So if it's 6, that's 6 times 3, or about 18 feet by 15 feet. So I'll do the conversion for you with my little calculator here. I'm actually going to get out my calculator because I don't need to multiply 18 times 15. I'm just going to do it here. 270 square feet. Now, is this a room in a warehouse? Is this a room in somebody's home or garage? What is it?
It's actually a nursery. There's a nursery under us, which is quite good for us because, they are there during the week and we are there during the weekends.
So wait a sec. Do you have to take your bridge set down when the kids come so they don't break it or anything?
No. It's on a top level. They're under us, so it's okay. They're on the ground level and we're on the first level.
Oh, okay. And a nursery for kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So you have to make sure that those kids do not get up to your bridge set.
Yeah, that would be crazy, actually.
So how long did it take you to make this thing?
I don't want to be saying something I don't remember properly, but I think it was around 2 years now. We were 4 guys which kind of decided 1 year that they want to build it. So they invested their own money to make it possible and make it happen. And of course, we had so many people helping us. It was like, I think in total, not all the time, but in total it was around 90 people or something like that.
Wow.
So it was a really, really big group. We were working usually over the weekends or sometimes during the holidays. It was just for the first time, we had just half of the bridge. So we had just a part where you have the captain, first officer, and the tactical station behind. And then after, I don't know, maybe half a year or what, we built another part of the set. So that means the view screen. And also, other than the bridge, we have quarters, very small quarters, and a ready room, which can be converted to whatever.
No, next time you got to do a transporter room,
Well, there's more plans, yeah, but not in this space because it's not big enough. There's not much we can fit in anymore.
Yeah, I've seen that happen with Axanar, with Ares Studios, that They just got a bunch of previously used sets from Star Trek First Frontier, and now it's like basically, wall to wall filled with stuff. Same thing with Neutral Zone Studios in Kingsland, Georgia. They basically have the exact same layout as they did at Desilu Studios and Paramount back in the 1960s, and everything is attached to everything else. So if you walk out of sickbay, you do walk into the corridor. And if you walk down the corridor, you walk into the transporter room. I mean, it's actually really like walking around the Enterprise.
That's amazing.
And by the way, they did that at Paramount as well. I was on the Voyager sets, and it was the same thing where you walk out of sickbay into the corridor, and that corridor goes for, or at least it did back when the Voyager days, that went for, I guess, I would say maybe about 120 degrees of arc. So when people were walking, they could walk a pretty long distance in that corridor, but eventually they're going to stop walking. And you'll see that in almost every scene. They'll walk, and then they'll stop because they've essentially just run out of corridor, but they don't want you to see that. But, there was the transporter room, and there was sick bay, and there was a quarters, and then there was engineering, and everything came off that corridor. But what was really funny is the transporter room was right behind the turbolift that went to the bridge. So if you wanted to get into that turbolift from behind so that you were in the turbolift when the doors opened, you'd actually walk through the back of the transporter room. It was just really, really funny. So when I went onto the sets, it was, 1996 or something, 1997. I was wandering around the bridge, and I noticed that on the side of the turbolift was like this opening. I'm like, oh, where does that go? And then suddenly I'm in the transporter room. It was just really, really weird. So anyway, you have plans to expand?
Yeah, we do actually. Well, how it is with productions, and people and relationships and stuff. So we kind of split into two productions. So two people stayed on their side, and me and my friend, we kind of stay on different side. So our plan for expansion is build a new bridge, honestly. And the new bridge we're thinking about is probably gonna be something similar to Nova class or maybe Miranda. We're not sure at the moment yet, but we are thinking about it, yeah. And we want to build an engine room as well. So we want to make this bridge more flexible because we want to make sure that, for example, you can make out of red room, you can make a corridor as well, or use different set parts to make a different locations and stuff. So that's the plan for the future.
And you have a place for that too, or?
We already scouted some stuff, it can be in Prague, which is the main city of Czech Republic, because it's too expensive here. But outside of Prague, let's say 50 kilometers, I don't know how many is that in miles. You can get.
We'll figure that out. So 50 some odds. It's probably 26 miles. Okay.
Yeah. So in that radius, you can get something for, let's say, $1,000 per month. So that would be probably feasible. And also we want to have a bigger space because, as I said before, on this bridge, you cannot get behind the walls, which is really limiting while shooting the movie itself because you can get different angles and stuff. So for this bridge, we would want to have space behind the walls as well.
Yeah. And obviously you want, space to pull your camera back, both in front of the walls and, and behind the walls and, move stuff and, have a wider shot. So in this crowdfunder that you're launching, and your crowdfunder, you're trying to raise about, what is it, $15,000 American?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, what is that going to cover? Because you said it's not to make the film, you've already shot the film. So what is it?
No. Well, the story is we don't want to raise any money for the bridge itself. We take that as our investment, our money we put to kind of our fund. So we don't want any money for that. What we want to get out of it is to cover at least some production costs of the movie we already shot and kind of get ready for another movie which we're going to be shooting from March. So it's pretty much for that. It's only to cover the production costs. So costumes, props, masks, maybe some CGI. And also what we want for the English-speaking people, we want to have subtitles for sure. That's what's going to happen. But we're thinking about the voiceover as well, and we would have to rent the studio for that, get English speakers, etc., etc. So that's pretty much what we're covering if we'll get the money we want.
Okay, well that's cool. I would definitely pay for voiceovers.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say that it would be for many people, hopefully, one of the reasons why to help us make this happen. Yeah.
So let me ask you, what is your fan film about? What's the storyline going to be?
The fan film is set at the peak of the Dominion War, and one of the main heroes is promoted to an admiral, and he's being given a charge of four vessels, which are Norway class. So it's four ships, and they have to guard a piece of the quadrant where there are some bad things happening. And then the inevitable happens, and one of the ships is hijacked by our crazy Vorta, and they have to deal with it. So that's pretty much the story. What is it about? Yeah.
And is it going to be a 15-minute long fan film or a two-part half-hour long?
Two-part half hour. Yeah, two-part half hour for sure. It's quite long. There's loads of characters because there's four ships, there's loads of characters. Each ship has a different captain. Each ship has a different crew, different destiny. So that's why it's half an hour long.
That's cool. Is there a lot of emotionally intense drama or, in terms of like character conflict? Or is it more just all about the action, or is it some kind of mix?
It's kind of mixed. There is one of the captains isn't really, which is me actually, I play the captain, isn't really happy about having an admiral on board. So that's one of the really issues of the story. And then, of course, the Vorta, which is really making bad things happen.
Well, that's cool too, because there's not a lot of fan films that have been set during the Dominion War. A lot of them were set after it. But I guess, it's difficult because, how can you do a Vorta or a Jem'Hadar unless you've got a makeup budget? Which it sounds like, you guys either do or I guess you have a makeup person, right? You have people. And is your makeup person somebody who does this for a profession, or are they just like a cosplay person, or both?
He's my really, really good friend, which actually started a couple of years ago, just, trying out different stuff. And his craft really improved over the years. So actually, at the moment, he works for some Hollywood production here in Czech. So now he is professional. Yeah. I hope it's not against the CBS rules.
Yeah, my feeling on this is when CBS says it needs to be an amateur production, there are too many people in the fan film community who are professionals as well. Like, for example, the fellow who's doing the music for Interlude is a fellow named Kevin Croxton. He is a professional musical composer. He actually has won an Emmy. But he created, after the guidelines, he created a fan film with his fourth and fifth grade kids that he teaches in Arkansas. It was called The Adventures of the USS Parkview. It's Parkview Elementary that he teaches at. And it was called The Bunny Incident. He directed it. He wrote it. He's a Hollywood professional living in Arkansas. So when you say no professionals, he could not create his own fan film if it was seriously no professionals. But obviously he didn't pay himself. So my feeling has always been that when they say no professionals, what they really mean is you're not paying anybody. To be a professional, you need to get paid. It's an amateur production, meaning that the people who are doing it are working for free on that. Yeah. And I think there's, certain allowable exceptions to that. And granted, I'm not speaking for CBS. I'm not their attorney. And this is something they might want to explain at some point. But, there's certain people that have to get paid only because it's like the pizza delivery guy. If you're ordering pizza for your crew, the guy who's delivering the pizza is getting paid. You're paying for that pizza. You can't not pay for that pizza. In the same way, your wardrobe, yes, I know you have to buy stuff that is commercially available, if it is commercially available, but if you're making a uniform and you can only get that uniform made by somebody who is going to tailor it completely from scratch for you, that's not the sort of thing that most fans can find a volunteer to do that. There's just too much time and labor involved in that. So I think that for certain things like that, where the person is literally giving up a portion of their livelihood to take the time to create the thing for you, I think that CBS could look the other way. You're not making a fan film that's going to be of the kind of quality that is going to be mistaken for cinematic Star Trek.
Sure.
And it still can look good, but I think that at this point, CBS just wants to make sure, when they say no professionals, that it doesn't look so good that people are going to tune in to YouTube, think they have found free Star Trek, and not subscribe to All Access or Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever, because they mistake your fan film for something that they produced. That's my thought.
Yeah. And also, I think that if we're talking about that, for them, it's that people are not making money on their property. That's probably one of the things as well, which in our case, it would be impossible, because you can imagine. Well, I talked about that with Alec. That the bridge, it cost us initially just to build it, and for some food for people and stuff, about $20,000 US, which is really nothing, But on the other hand, it's a lot of money. So if we were asking for 15,000, for one project, for one movie, and we already shot 3 before, and this one, and we produced everything, we couldn't in any way, make money out of it. So that's probably my opinion as well, that they don't want people to make money on their property, which I absolutely understand as well.
But fan filmmakers like you and me, yeah, there's no way we're ever going to make money off of any of this. In that way, I really don't think there's a lot to worry about if 1 or 2 of your people happen to be industry professionals and working on your project. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the other production that you were talking about recently, because folks don't know this, but I have a whole bunch of tabs open on my browser window of just YouTube videos of Star Trek fan films that I want to cover, and they're just sort of lost in the tab mess. But one of them was Star Trek Diplomacy, which is also produced out of the Czech Republic and was something that you were involved in, I believe, because it used that partial bridge set. And so I've had that tab up there for the longest time of, okay, I need to cover these guys because it looks awesome. I mean, the bridge set looked great. Your uniforms are impeccable. Those are the most amazing uniforms. And I wanted to cover it. It's just, things are busy. I haven't gotten to it yet. So when you contacted me, I was like, oh, well, cool. I wanted to cover Star Trek Diplomacy, so I can talk about that, and I can talk about your new stuff. And you said, oh, don't bother watching Star Trek Diplomacy.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Well, for me, or for us, it was kind of a first project, and we kind of took an approach which I wouldn't take again. It was more like a political drama. It wasn't Star Trek, in its essence, or it wasn't action-packed or anything. It was really, really still. And it wasn't just because of the writing, which was really suited to. There's a English TV series from UK which is called Yes Prime Minister or Yes Minister, and it was based on that. It's a political drama. So kind of for me, it's really still like the camera. We used to we didn't do any moving camera, so all the cameras were still. Kind of, we didn't really know how to color the movie, the masks, and the prosthetics we do didn't have as high quality. So for me, Diplomacy was kind of trial, a beginning of something new, but I wouldn't come back to it again. That's the story. And also, as I said before, we used to be a bigger group, which kind of fell apart, it just sometimes happened. So for me, it's just kind of sorrow thing, to be honest.
So are they the folks that did Diplomacy, or you said you're breaking into 2 different groups, are some of the folks that went their own way, are they still going to be producing their fan films?
Diplomacy was our own child, it was our child, all together. So the other group, they went their direction, they're going really local. So they're shooting a TV series, which is actually continuation of the Diplomacy stuff, but because of the CBS, Paramount lawsuits and stuff, when they made the regulations, they kind of changed
the Star Trek universe into a totally different universe that they can do the TV series. And also they do small Star Trek movies, but mostly really they're like political dramas, like, talking, and still camera. That's the way we don't want to go. We're going totally different, opposite directions.
All right. Well, here comes okay. So this is where you're going to start selling it to the people that you want to get money from. So what is different about your approach, and why is it exciting, and why should we give you money because it's so exciting?
Yeah, it's really exciting because, like, maybe from the production level, it's a little thing which I want to put in, because, like, me and my friend, which we parted from the other people, we set up a company about 2 years ago, which is focused on supplying loads of different movies and TV sets with props and costumes and prosthetics, etc. So we kind of really cracked it, whatever we did before and what we're doing now. So we have Jamhadars and we have Bortadar, and they're amazing. Like the prosthetics that we did, they're amazing. I think that they're really comparable to whatever was on Star Trek before. Our Vulcan is beautiful. We have Andorian there. So, there's loads of races, which you recognize from Star Trek, and the quality of the prosthetics, I think, is really good. Same with props. We have some Jamhadar rifles and face pistols. Uniforms were the same as before. And also, like, we took a different approach to writing. So the main writer for this movie is a guy his name is Jan Kotovic, really unusual name as well. He actually ran a very successful Kickstarter campaign not a long time ago. He raised about $7,000 because he's one of the best-selling Czech sci-fi authors, and he's kind of going to US as well. So his novels will be translated, and published in US as well. And he is really successful. So his writing really helped, this project to be something special and different. So that's probably on the writing and production side. Then on the side of technical stuff, we have a really good guy with camera. We actually rented out really expensive cameras and lenses and stuff, to make it more movie look, And he used to be a YouTuber in Czech, really successful one actually, a few years ago. So his craft, he shoots movies and stuff. So his craft in terms of shooting a movie is amazing as well. So for me, this project is totally different in so many ways. I think it's more professional, better looking, better written, and also the actors. Like, we did really so many rehearsals. It was actually really annoying sometimes because it was a few times a week. And also, as you progress, like, I think we did 2 or 3 diplomacies. So, that gives you some experience as well. Before that, we used to do theaters and stuff. So as an actor, you'll get better as well. So I'd say in this project, everything should be better, in short.
Now, are your actors fans who are just trying to act, or are they folks that are involved in theater or other things who actually have some acting chops?
Honestly, most of them are just fans. We always wanted to have it as a fan film, and I think it's really important. It's from fans to fans. It should be done by fans. That is the reason why we didn't really hire any professionals except kind of us, because we're in it. So we didn't hire any professional director or actors or whatever. So all the people that are working on it are fans, mainly.
Okay. Let me ask a question, because obviously this is interesting that the Czech Republic has so many Star Trek fans. I think that, outside of Europe and, even outside of America, we sometimes wonder here in America, how is it that other people see Star Trek? How are they watching it? How are they getting so excited about it that, they're as passionate? I mean, obviously FedCon in Germany, these folks go beyond anything we do here in America, except for maybe DragonCon. How is it in Europe that Star Trek has spread so much? Where are you guys watching it? Where are you guys getting together?
That's an interesting question. I can tell you my story, actually, because that's probably going to tell you something. So before, you don't know, or that before the year 1989, there was a communism here. and it was Czechoslovakia, so it was impossible, to get anything from abroad, especially from US, So after that, when the borders kind of came free, and there wasn't any communism anymore, I remember that when I was about 7 years old, my grandmother, mother, she had a TV station from Germany, and there was TNG going on. She was like, "Oh, I have to show you this TV series. There's the bald guy. I really like him. I think you should see that." So that's the first time I saw TNG, and it was in German. I didn't understand at all. So that was when I was 7. So that's actually 28 years ago. That's quite a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, 28 years ago. And then, then it was really hard because we had to, I borrow it on VHS, and actually the last movie which came to Czech from the original movies, with the Kirk crew, was the 5th movie. We couldn't get it anywhere. I don't remember why, actually, So there was that. And then when I was about 15, which was the year 1990, it kind of started to pick up, so we started to play the CCG, Star Trek cards, the card game, and the first conventions actually happened. And the main attraction of the convention were the people which voice over Voyager at that time. I remember that we saw Endgame as first people in Czech Republic, so we were really excited. There was really a lot of conventions, and it was really, really busy. Also, throughout those years, there were so many actors in Prague, actually, and probably the main difference between US and Czech is that here you can really speak with them. You can spend some time with them. Like me personally, I do public speaking, so usually when there is a Star Trek actor in Prague, I do the public speaking, so I ask him questions and stuff. So I had a chance to meet the guy who played Odo, who actually passed away recently.
Rene Auberjonois.
Rene Auberjonois, I don't remember the names. Also Quark.
Armin Shimmerman.
There was Marina Sirtis, and what's her name? Jadzia Dax. She was lovely as well.
Terry Farrell.
Yes, and Harry Kim. Years ago, I think
Garrett
the first
Wong.
actor here was this actor. Yeah. Now, actually, in March, it's going to be William Shatner's going to be here doing his Wrath of Khan thing. So I have the first line, which is great. To watch that. Yeah. So I think that the Trekkies in Czech Republic are really, really busy and really stick together, and trying to do stuff, which is probably different to the rest of the world. I don't know, I never saw any Trekkies in the US, so you'll probably tell me.
Oh, well, we have a bunch of, the thing about the US is we're much more spread out. Obviously, we've got 3,000 miles between our coasts. I remember a friend of mine who was born in England and immigrated to America when she was 5. She said that the difference between Europeans and Americans is that Europeans think that 100 miles is a long distance, and Americans think that 100 years is a long time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I will say, my wife's parents, who are retired now, are spending their retirement taking a lot of trips to Europe. They were never able to travel before. And of all the places they've seen in Europe, Prague is their favorite city, which I thought was very interesting because they've been to Paris and they've been to Austria and Germany, and they've traveled. I think they were in Croatia, but anyway, they just said they always make sure that they're in Prague. Every time they go to Europe now. So what is it about your city?
I don't know, but honestly, I traveled pretty much the whole Europe as well because of the job I used to do, and I still consider Prague to be the nicest of them. It's probably the historical stuff, all the castles and buildings and stuff, and the city center and the Wenceslav Square and Old Town Square. I think that's why people love it so much, because it has a really good historical feeling, which you probably wouldn't get anywhere else. Like Paris is different, London is different, but Prague is really, it's the heart of the Europe, what else can you say? But, on the other hand, like we here have it the other way around. So, for example, we love US, and to be honest, LA is my favorite city. So probably from Europe it goes the other way, and from US it goes this way. Yeah.
So LA, which is where I live, is your favorite city. What is it other than the fact that it's, we're talking to each other, it's the middle of winter, and Los Angeles is, 80 degrees. But what is it about Los Angeles that you are so attracted to?
I'll tell you. It's the movie industry. Like, I loved movies since I was a kid, and what I love about LA is the vibe, is the feeling, it's when you step out on the Sunset Boulevard, and all the cars, and pretty ladies, and sometimes the director walks around. So that's probably it. And also, I visited Paramount and all the other studios as well. So I love the movie vibe about the city itself, That's probably it. It's the movie vibe.
Yeah, we like to say that you can't drive around Los Angeles without hitting at least one movie star, which is which is kind of true because my son's godmother almost killed George Clooney.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, she was driving
Great
out.
He didn't. Great he didn't.
Yeah, well, it was actually really funny. She was driving out of the NBC Universal lot, and she literally almost ran over somebody. I mean, he was like on her hood. I mean, not like, she hit him at like 60 miles an hour and he was crashing through her windshield, but like, she bumped him enough that, he kind of doubled over and was on her hood. And she's like, oh my God, who did I hit? And then he looks up at her, obviously absolutely livid, expression on his face. And it was George Clooney. She doesn't work there anymore.
Yes, a really funny thing happened to me actually when I was walking in Prague around Wenceslav Square. And I met a Crispin Glover, the guy who played Marty McFly's father in Back to the Future 1. And I was like, hey man, is it you? And he was like, yeah, so let's take a selfie. And we talked, and he actually owns a few buildings in Prague in the center. So that was funny as well. I don't understand still how he got here, So that's funny as well. And so many American actors left Prague. Like, there was loads of Star Wars actors. There was Mark Hamill really recently. A few of my friends met him. And there was still someone here, shooting something or just having their holiday.
Is there a lot of Hollywood production that happens in Prague?
Yes, it is actually. It used to be more before because of the taxes, but then they raised it up and it's not as huge as it used to be. But there are actually 2 TV series with some really big actors, which I can't talk about, which are actually at the moment being shot here. There was there was a TV series shoot, I think last year or 2 years before with Orlando Bloom. So he was here for a long time as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I always find that interesting where, things are filmed in Europe. Because I know that Game of Thrones did a lot of filming in Croatia, which is very close to where you are. Did they do any filming in the Czech Republic? Do you know?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't think so. I think they did mostly in Croatia.
Yeah.
And for example, the new Terminator was shot in Hungary.
Oh, that's cool.
It was filmed in Hungary.
I know that there have been a number of those action movies where they're doing car chases through very classical looking ancient looking European towns, and I've been told that Prague is one of the places where you can rush through very old looking streets and they still look old. They haven't really been touched by time.
One of the first Mission Impossibles was filmed here, and also James Bond, I think. Casino Royale was filmed here. Spider-Man, the latest Spider-Man, was filmed here. It wasn't in Prague though. It was in Jablonec. It's another smaller town on the north. Yeah, so that's my answer to your question. There are a lot of productions actually.
Okay, and obviously, you are associated with the film industry now that you're making props and things for. Now, are you doing that for professional films only in the Czech Republic, or obviously because the European Union allows you to go outside your borders pretty easily, are you working with production companies in other countries?
It's a really, really tough business to get into, especially in Czech, because there's just few companies that do that, and it's always, the people who know people, who know people will get there, So my friend, a few of my guys, they're actually working on 2 Hollywood productions at the moment on TV series, and other than that, we pretty much supply some Star Wars, prop replicas to European Union, because we're part of the Rebel Legion as well, so we can. And also we do for some local productions some really small stuff, and for our movies as well, for some Czech fans as well. Now we have a project, because we're shooting another movie in March, as I said. So we had to create the rifle from the Starfleet rifle from the First Contact. So that's one of our other projects. And now we're actually working on the Mandalorian costume, which is going to be probably one of the best in the world, because we really have I didn't personally, but my guys, they took so much time, in referencing, and looking for the right fabrics and stuff. So it's going to be probably the best costumes at the moment on the market. Yeah.
Now, for the Mandalorian, that's not going to be in the Star Trek.
No, of course not. It's just for us. Like there's a Comic-Con happening in 2 weeks' time. So we're aiming to have it there, ready.
Oh, send me a picture of that one when it's done. Okay, so let's go back to now. I realize that we spent all this time interviewing you, and I'll have this in the intro of the blog, but I haven't actually said that your fan film is going to be called Squadron, right?
Yeah.
Okay, not Star Trek Squadron, because we can't use Star Trek, but it'll say Squadron, a Star Trek fan film. The way
that's correct. Yeah.
Now, will Squadron be the name also of your series? I know that the guidelines say you can't have a series, but some folks do it anyway. Or will you be having a different name for your next fan film?
Yeah, it's not going to be series. Like, we don't want to get into any trouble with CBS or Paramount, honestly. So we want to follow the rules as much as possible. So no, the other movie we're going to be shooting is a different name, different crew, different people, different ship.
Okay, well, there you go. That solves every problem.
Yeah.
So now you've filmed everything for Squadron. So there's nothing else that you still need to film? Everything's in the can?
Everything is done, yes.
So basically the money coming in is to just, sort of retroactively cover some of the money that you spent for that, to probably, do some visual effects or whatever. Unless you know somebody who's your best friend who's really, really good at it, you're probably going to have to take them away from their day job. And that's one of those kind of gray areas where when they say everybody has to be an amateur and nobody gets paid, well, it's really, really difficult to do any kind of visual effects, even if somebody's doing you a favor.
And also, it's easier sometimes to buy 3D models, than to build them from scratch, of ships and stuff. So, and it all costs money, yeah.
Yeah, and so, you're basically just trying to fund that. And if you don't reach your goal, does it still come out?
Of course, yeah, it will, of course. For us, it would be an amazing, help, and, also to see, the community, that for whatever you do for the community pays back, and I don't mean pays back in full, not at all, but, it pays back, of course, with, from the comments, and everyone here, sends you some love. But for us, we really want to improve, and to improve, we need more money, because the next project that we're planning has a twice bigger budget than this one, that Squadron. So because there's more props, there's better prosthetics, better materials, we have to buy new costumes. We'll be filming also on locations, I mean outside of Prague. So, it's going to be a bigger, bolder project. So that's why we kind of want, to get some money back for Squadron, to reinvest it to another project again. So yes, the project will come out. I mean, Squadron will definitely come out. We're hoping for November, December this year. And then the next project should happen next year. So both will come out. The question is on the second project, the quality. If we'll raise the money, we can rent out better equipment and stuff, which is going to help as well.
And I think once Squadron comes out, if it's as good as I think it is, you may be able to crowdfund more in November. Granted, don't try to crowdfund in December because it's Christmas and nobody has any money left because they're buying their presents.
Yeah.
But you might be able to crowdfund, more at the end of the year, close to when you come out, because people will see it, go, oh, they can do this. This is very, very impressive. I want to see some more of it. Yeah. Especially if there's voiceovers as opposed to subtitles, because I know that Americans hate to read those little things in the bottom. Although they are, it's not that bad. I mean, I did manage to watch Diplomacy and read the subtitles. It wasn't that bad. Granted, there were some other ones that I watched where the subtitles, they didn't have subtitles, so I had to use the auto translate that YouTube supplies. And there was one Russian fan film that there was no way. YouTube was struggling. It's I have no idea what any of these people are saying. But
what you were saying, I think it's really, really correct. And, we didn't want to crowdfund anything before we had really the material in our hands, so because I strongly feel that the Squadron will be a good movie. So that's why we're going out with it now. Like, there's so many fan films and they just make a trailer or not even that, or they just do CGI and then they try to do the crowdfunding. So I think now in this time, it's harder than ever, to come out with something totally different and maybe more pumped up. Like our campaign, we spent maybe 2.5 months just preparing it. Like, my background is in marketing, so I would compare it. I used to work for PlayStation, and I would compare it to the launch of a new game. It's really that wide campaign. So what we're actually doing, we have I think, really good graphics. We have behind the scenes footage. We have interviews with, I think, about 5 cast members. We have something really interesting, which I think that people will love, and that's a 3D walk around our bridge, which we're
cool.
going to release when we'll release when it's on the campaign page actually. So we really worked on that hard. Like, all the social media posts. We have social media posts for every day, videos, graphics, etc. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everything.
Yeah.
So I hope this will work.
Yeah, one of the things I tell people who are crowdfunding, I said, never let the launch of your crowdfunding campaign be a surprise.
Yeah.
I see so many people who launch their crowdfunding campaign and I'll contact them and say, I had no idea this was coming. If you can get a lead on this, and these guys, I mean, I've known about them since December, and now it's February, and they have been doing things to let people know this is coming. And, now that you're launched, obviously you need the drip, drip, drip of, hey, don't forget us. We're still out there. We still would like your money. This is exciting. And by the way, next day, we're still looking for some money. Ask early, ask often, because the worst that happens is you annoy people. But if you don't say anything, you get nothing. So, don't just think that if you build it, they will come. When I crowdfunded Interlude, I had a comic book version of Interlude that I had done that was 7 pages long. And so I realized that if I released 1 page a week, that I had 7 weeks of keeping Interlude interesting. And in addition to that, I had 1 new blog per week about Interlude during those first 7 weeks. And then beyond that, I tried to continue to have at least 1 interesting blog about some aspect of either the production or the pre-production at that point, or the crowdfunding, anything that I could possibly think of to just keep justifying a reminder of this is still out there. There's a lot of crowdfunding campaigns I see where the folks launch it and, they announce it on Fan Film Forum or whatever, and then you don't hear from them for months and nobody donates. And I'm like, well, the reason is that they might have seen it that first point and they didn't have money in their wallet at that particular point, and if you'd asked them again a week later, they might have said, oh, I remember you guys, but they just don't do that.
Yeah, but I think you're totally correct, and I think that to give people even the idea how to do it is good. And from marketing point of view, what we're doing, we kind of started with the pre-launch page, not really just to get people subscribe, but really to be there, that it's on Indiegogo, we can share the link and stuff. So the way we built the campaign was, we started with a pre-launch page, we kind of fill it up. Then before the campaign began, the campaign itself, we did some interviews for local radios, and we actually talked to TV in Czech, which I know that there's not many people going to support us from Czech, because the base here is limited, and most of the people know us and actually worked on this project, so there's not that many people. But we did that, just to be known. And also, that's why I reached to you. I reached to Alec from XML, which I'm really thankful that he got back to me. I have to say that one more time, because I try to reach really Trek Movie and so many movie sites without much success. So we pushed through that also, because so many of my friends know some of the Trek actors, Star Trek actors. So we pushed through them and all the forums and everything. And I think this match, or this mix of marketing stuff, will hopefully and should work.
And if it doesn't, at least you have a flexible goal, which means that whatever you raise, you get to keep anyway.
Yeah, of course. We would be happy for everything, anything helps, everything helps.
Well, I remember back in the early days, Kickstarter still has that rule where if you don't meet your goal, you get zero. It was in those days, it had a greater reach. And so people were like, well, we're going to be doing Kickstarter because we're pretty sure we're going to make our goal. And, we want to get more money anyway. And then people wouldn't make their goal and they would wind up with nothing. And eventually I started saying, why would you use Kickstarter? Just use Indiegogo. At least if you get halfway there, you still get your money. You'll do another crowdfunder, try to get it, again.
So speaking of Indiegogo, you can't imagine how much pain it is to set up a campaign here in Czech Republic because Indiegogo doesn't support Czech as one of the countries you can set the campaign in. So our initial thought was that we'll try one of our American friends and do the campaign through him, which is possible. It's not against the rules.
So what would happen is he would collect the money for you and he would just send it to...
Yeah, that's what would happen. But the problem was with taxes and stuff. So he kind of pulled out, which I completely understand. So we had to actually ask another friend, which is from Germany. So we're doing it through Germany. So the campaign is obviously in euros. And even because of the taxes and everything, we will have to send him an invoice for that. And it's quite complicated because, if we'll make the money, we have to tax them and stuff, etc., etc. So it wasn't easy, for us. It took, I don't know, maybe a month or month and a half just to figure out how we're going to do it. It's a time-consuming thing as well, doing the campaign, and also we're producing another movie. So doing 2 in 1 is kind of crazy, on top of your usual stuff as girlfriend, dogs, work, etc. So it's crazy at the moment.
Yeah. So speaking of your other movies, so you told us the plot earlier of Squadron.
Yeah.
Now your next movie is going to be, what's it going to be titled?
I hope no one steals the title. No, because
you don't have to. You can keep it quiet if you want.
No, we can. It's no problem. The next title is going to be The Last Survivor.
The Last Survivor.
Yeah.
Because there was already a fan film called The Last Survivor.
Is there?
Yes.
Damn it.
Sorry about that. But I just don't want you to think.
No problem. Good to know. Good to know.
You'll find it on Fan Film Factor. It's the third of a trilogy of Survivor, Survivors, and Last Survivor. Although if you call yours The Last Survivor, if you add the, it's a different fan film.
It's good. It's good. Well, it's the plot. I don't want to talk about the plot that much, but it's actually set in 2 eras. So the first era is the kind of Voyager era. So it's in the time when Voyager went to Delta Quadrant. So we'll have different uniforms. The interesting thing is that I actually won on Julian's auction 2 screen-used Voyager uniforms. So the uniforms will be completely screen accurate. Of course, I'm not going to use them, but we're going to have new uniforms made. So the first part, kind of the prequel, is set in that era. And then the main part is 12 years later. And the story is about someone who got really pissed off with the Federation and wants to revenge the death of his wife and loads of his colleagues and the whole planet.
Okay.
It's going to be really different. It's going to be really action-packed. And we want to have it more like a thriller. What we're going to do, we want to have it a little bit more R-rated, let's say. So it's not going to be as, smooth and all, beautiful clouds and sun everywhere. No, this is going to be kind of darker, thriller. Also, the ship is going to be crippled in the first part of the movie. So the bridge will be pretty much destroyed. And all the desperation, and death and injured people will kind of play a significant role there.
Oh, you guys are creating a lot of work for yourself. You're building a bridge and then you're going to destroy it.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Oh, of course we're going to destroy it just like they did in Voyager. They just throw black stuff around, put some smoke, some sparkles, and that's it. Here you go. Movie magic. So, as well, the crowdfunder will help us, to prepare for that because, as I said before, the budget is twice as large. There's so many stuff we have to build from scratch. Some props, costumes. The costumes are completely new. And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. But I'm really looking forward to that. And just to note one thing, I'm the guy behind the Survivor project, but really the project of Squadron wouldn't happen without my friend Teresa, which she kind of brought it to life. She directed it, she put all the people together. I was helping her as a kind of producer and marketing guy and doing the campaign itself, but I really, really have to credit her for all of her work.
Well, maybe for your next update, we can get her on and interview her.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Anyway, Jakub, I do wish you the best of luck. I will, of course, be donating a little bit myself because I believe in you guys and your amazing bridge set. I will donate using a credit card, but, if you want to, you could just write a check. Okay, sorry. I got to put that in there somewhere. So keep us posted. Obviously, Fan Film Factor is at your discretion. If you have any new content that you like people to see, I'm happy to post it and remind people that you're still collecting.
Thank you very much for that.
All right. And then we'll look for Squadron, I guess, in late 2020.
That's true. Squadron is coming.
Squadron is coming.
The bad Vorta will make a lot of noise.
I want to see Vorta. We have not seen Vorta in fan films yet. So
she's amazing. You can check out the photos, and she's so sexy. It's actually amazing. It's amazing how sexy she is. It's the sexiest Vorta ever.
But anyway, I do wish you all the best of luck, you and your team.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your help.
Oh, you're very, very welcome.